starting, and just click on the other one so I can see the chat. So is it on? Yes, so the broadcast is on. It hasn't come on the YouTube yet. So
yeah, I don't know if I can get to the chats. Let me look.
Yeah, it's come on now on my YouTube channel. So if you go on to my YouTube channel, you will see the chats.
Oh, okay.
Hello, everybody. We've got Pixie's channel in. He's acting as my keeping an eye on the chat box, and he's going to come in about half an hour's time, if you don't mind, Harry. Hello, Grounds.
That's wonderful.
Jay Von Zombie's here. So can you see the chats yourself then, Harry?
Yes, I can.
Oh,
I'm going to pop it out.
Yeah, good then. So tonight's episode, we've got Harry Fesler from the United States. Can't remember exactly whereabouts he lives. But Harry, could you tell us a bit about yourself first then, please?
Well, yeah, and thank you so much for having me, number one. It's awesome to be here. I have the East Coast under my belt. So I grew up on the East Coast, New Jersey, down south, all the way down south, in a little town about 5 or 7 miles long. It's an island. It's a beach island, and it's called Wildwood. Very, very famous since even before Atlantic City, and if not Atlantic City. They were two of the playgrounds of the world from the 50s and back. By the 60s and 70s, times were changing. The Vietnam era came in, and by the late 70s, we had casinos. So that really changed the Jersey Shore up and down, from New York down to us. And that brought in a whole different personality. We had New York, Philadelphia, Delaware, Virginia, all coming to the casinos from 1978 on. So it was a lot of different faces at that point. It wasn't just Philly, and it was typically Philly and Jersey that all came to the shore.
And how long have you been exactly on YouTube then, Harry?
I've been on about 3 months as a live channel. Probably 2012, I think. I signed up, probably a second channel at that point. Never ever did it. Never did it until, like, I don't know what you want to call it, but to reach people, that was 3 months ago.
Whoa! So, and how many subscribers have you got for your channel at the moment?
I think I'm about a 460.
Yeah.
And I have a little shout out that's going out to get me to 500. Not necessarily, I just want to get over that hump because I want to focus on content again. But 500's coming up, so I might as well do it. I noticed that a lot of people are doing, certain milestones. I'll probably keep it in the 500 blocks. So next one I do is 1,000. Maybe we'll try it. I hope it turns out good.
Yeah, because I have seen the giveaway, the video. So have you got any family then?
We're down to my mother and my wife and me immediately. We just lost. Well, so I don't know if you know of the Sandy storm that we had here. That was in 2012.
Yes,
so,
I did.
Since that storm, we lost both parents, my stepfather, and my grandfather. So I have my grandmother that's still she's in a home from a stroke. And, when we get to our age, you start seeing what's dwindling. And I have the 2 children, which is great, but aunts and uncles, they're pretty much, I guess, Texas, Virginia, but immediately and around me, we're pretty down to slim pickings.
Oh, well, that's good then, yeah. So About your channel then, about how long ago was your first video uploaded to YouTube?
Well, probably since 2012, I put up a few things that were really family oriented. We did play around with videos like unboxing and stuff, but nothing to really upload and promote. Then
Yeah.
I had a little bit of health issues at the beginning of the summer, and we were starting to take walks. I didn't work this summer for the first time, where I actually, hit my 9 to 5 or whatever you want to call it, but I had to take a few minutes to reassess at my age what kind of damage was done, how am I going to reverse it. And it turns out that, diet and exercise, I was obese. I was 310 pounds. And I used to be 220 pounds and lifting cars. I was always physical. My job was physical. So this summer, I started messing around with Facebook, and I was taking videos. And it was my daughter, Holly, who said, and Holly's a watcher. We were always watchers of YouTube, so don't get me wrong. Very familiar with it. But I was watching, or we were loading up to Facebook, and she said, "Why aren't you putting them on YouTube?" And I said, "I don't have any. I have like 3 it's my daughter, my son, and I think a family member were I had 3 or 4." And she's like, "Well, put it up and see what happens." So, all right, I put up about 3 or 4 vlogs of me walking, and I just named it Walk 1, Walk 2. And all of a sudden, you bump into somebody from school that has children too, and I'm like, "Oh, guess what? I'm starting to put stuff on YouTube." So they joined, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So how do you get people to subscribe? And I really couldn't. I don't think you can really leave comments and links on people's channels unless you really truly know them or whatnot. So I didn't feel like that was right ethically, or but I discovered the live chats, and I guess it was around the same time that I wanted to learn how to make either mead or wine or whatnot, and that was when I stumbled into a video from a guy called Paw Paw. So I watched it and I really liked it. So I subscribed. And boom, I got within 3 or 4 days, I got a live notification that Paw Paw's going live. And I was like, this guy, I'm going to watch him live. He's got to be crazy. So I immediately went there. And once I realized that you type your name in the chat and people start subbing, I was like, okay, there you go. That works. And maybe on a second live, there was a shout out for him to go visit a guy by the name of Bobby Sprinkle. So I went to that channel. And on that channel, because I don't remember much, but I can tell you my first 3. On that channel, there was a shout out to see Cab 7. So in those 3 channels, okay, dear, in those 3 channels, I might have gotten to like 40 or 50 subs. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I found out to go live, you have to have 100 subs. So, I just kept visiting and kept interacting. And I am a watcher, not only a creator. So I started watching a little bit more of the people that subscribed, not just my random stuff. And I thought, it really worked out cool I was very blessed bumping into the people I bumped into initially. I could have probably went down a different path. It's led to you. So that whole vein has gotten me. I'll never forget the night you guys invited me up, and it was great. I felt at home. I felt, liked, or people were interested in me. So I loved it. So here's where I'm at. It came all the way full circle to hanging out with you, and here we go.
Yeah, Harry, would you like to put your link in the chat window?
Oh, I could type something in.
Yeah, because I think you've got a wrench, ain't you?
No, but that's okay.
Just type something in, and I'll give you the wrench then.
Did it go? Let me see.
Yeah, sorry about this, folks. It's just that if I give him a wrench, he can put his link into his channel, and if you would like to subscribe to him, then you can do. So,
That'd be cool.
You are now a moderator.
All right then.
So you
let me see what I have here. I'll be right there. Are you there? Okay, hang on. There we go. I'll go to there. And I'll go to here. I'm really happy to be able to hang out with you. It's my first.
Yeah, well, this is what I enjoy doing, interviewing fellow YouTube creators. I see the Hangout's not working properly because when you're on and I speak, it's not going over. So I'm having to do it manually tonight for some reason. Anybody give me any clue how to sort it out? Because it's just not working properly as it normally does. So Harry's put his link into the chat window. So if you'd all like to go over, if you're not sub to him, go over and show him some love.
Oh, thank you. I see TJ out there. Black Death, Jeanette, awesome. Pixie, Aussie Mark, awesome. G'day, mate.
You've got the accent there, Harry. So, Harry, your first video that I came across on your channel 3 years ago was an elf video. Could you tell us what software you used to create that?
That, I believe, was through a Facebook app. I can't lie. I believe my wife created that and then shared it with me to make fun of me. Because my kids look great and I look goofy. But yeah, that was it's actually fun. She went to go pick up Holly, but I'd have to ask her because that one I didn't do. Like some of the ones you see my face, I'm getting that out of Instagram. But that was either an online where you just plug in a couple pictures of faces and then they do the work. But it's entertaining for sure.
We've got Granny Monster in now, Foundation Material, Ian Drones. We've got 13 watching at the moment.
Awesome.
Viapre Project, he's new, so I will have to go over and have a look at his channel as well.
Yes, that one looks new, and I'll sub back. Anybody that subs me, I'll make sure I get to you.
Yeah, same with me.
So yeah, that was probably a good. I'm glad you picked that up. That was probably one of those things that I just trapped in case anybody ever wants to see stuff of the family. It was never meant to really go out public, but it's there. So I do have a few things there that I don't even remember I put there.
I'm just answering Black Death. Yes, we are Black Death. I will get in touch with you tomorrow for your interview because I'm doing 2 this week because Black Death wants me. I'm in demand. And
yes, you are. Mel's here.
I see that. Hello, Mel.
Random Life, good people.
So
thank you, what is that? JAB's Adventures. Thank you.
So, Harry, another video I looked at doing my research on your channel was May the 30th, 2014, Moving Day, North Wildwood, New Jersey, sad yet glad. So what's all that about?
Well, ever since the 2012 storm, we have been renting. And the first 2 years, we moved about 7 times until we found at least a spot to be able to call home, which happens to be here. We did like where we were, but we only spent a winter there, and we had to leave. And unfortunately, things like that happen, but you have to get glad. You can't let it bring you down. That's one thing my wife was like, especially with the, I'll give you, if you want me to tell you, I'll give you the story on the Sandy storm. We had moved in with my grandmother because my grandfather had just passed and she had breast cancer. So I was the closest to get in there and help her and get her to the doctors and all of whatever we had to do. So as soon as we got in there, 8 months later, the Sandy storm hit and it destroyed the house. And she had to leave and go to my mother's. We went to, my uncle had a place, which he's now in Arizona. He sold it. But my uncle was nice. He gave us a place for a summer to get through it, or winter, I'm sorry. And once we like really saw the damage, it was my wife that, oh, let's put it this way. My company that we did was always bailing people out. We were property management and maintenance, and I saw a million sad stories. But it really hit me hard because that's where I grew up. That was where I spent a lot of my teenage and young years of, you know, finding myself and, you know, all that good summer stuff. And here it is, gone, done. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. So her idea was to just go seek out other places where you needed donations or help. We wound up going to Brigantine, which is 40 minutes away up our parkway. And that's the type of woman she is. Instead of being all bummed out, she turned it into positive. So hence getting into where you saw that video and why I named it that way. By that time, I was starting to be retrained by my wife that when you get lemons, you make lemonade and drink it and say cheers, right? So it's a hard practice, but I can do
it. So Harry, who on YouTube at the moment inspires you the most? Which channels do you like to follow?
Well, I'll tell you what, that is the toughest question because the community's so big. But I have to say, I'd have to say I got a lot of inspiration through Cab 7, Benny. And a lot of people do. So, you know, he's very good at keeping it happy, keeping it real. He doesn't want any nonsense. But there was a few things that he said that were very meaningful to me, and I don't necessarily copy, but I find myself thinking the thoughts. Like one time, and even though Mel's here, I was inspired by him in a chat where I did one of my first live streams, and I would say it's people like that that promote positive life experience that mean the most to me. And he wanted to talk about in that, like, because like Mel could say something and I get it, but you know, that day he just said something that really hit me hard and made me feel like, what do you do to bring people up? And I was like, well, I don't go out on the street all the time and just shake hands and give people love. I do that with vets, you know. I always kiss, love, and hug a vet. But I thought about it, and I was like, well, I'm on YouTube. And the way I try to pick people up is a positive attitude. If there is something I'm a little fickle on or frustrated with, I try to discuss it and lift that problem up more than bring the problem down. When I do my videos with my family or my cooking or any of the music, then, you know, I always try to let my light shine because I'm really into feeling good about my day because I woke up and my eyes opened and I was able to, you know, get out of bed and be with, you know, the people I love. So I would say Cab 7 really made me feel like I can do this. I can do it, and I don't have to do it his way. I can do it my way. But I was told to go to him by a few people, so it wasn't like I bumped into him and he came out you know, he came out just like people told me he would. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, Cap 7 is a great guy, Ben. Yeah, follow his channel. So then, that's a great inspirational one, that one.
And
So,
plus, I've only been around 3 months. So I have, you know, I'm sure I'm going to find more people like that. So not to cut you off, but that would, in my short time of being focused, I have to say that, yeah.
so Harry, another video that well, 2 or 3 on your channel that I looked at was your coin collection. So how many coins have you got?
A multitude. I could do a channel on coins. I'm going to have playlists of them. I enjoy it. As a matter of fact, the coins got me through the down times. I really got into it numismatically. I did it. I shared my love for it with my daughter, and she became interested in wheat pennies. And she knows all the dates, the where there's mistakes and what to collect. But I really, I can't tell you how much I would love to have my own channel of just my coin collection. I got really cool, you know, probably from the 1700s and up. And I haven't shared much of them, but I could sit there and do an hour video and you know, appease myself. That's for sure. And I see that there's coin channels out there, and I guess some of them are actually following me now because they see a few of those videos. But I think I could have a good playlist that has, you know, if you're interested in it and you want to follow me, I think I could develop a nice playlist that has good information. I like history with the coins. It's nice when they're looking pretty, but I actually like the ones that are a little bit beat up. That, you know, I find it fascinating that a coin from 1790 was in somebody's purse, or you know, it might have been under the seat of a coach, and it still made it to somebody to spend it. So, anywho, I love coins, and I have some nice dollars, you know, paper money.
Yeah. So have you got any from the UK or anywhere else with
Oh yeah,
the world?
yeah. Yeah, I do have foreign coins. I'm not good with their names because I didn't focus on it, but I do have, I would say I have some, I have like some old shillings. I don't know their denomination offhand, but some King George's maybe. Is that right, or is that Canada?
No, no, I don't know because I don't know a lot about coins, you know. But
Well,
I
then
mean,
I got to do videos.
yeah, you have. That's what I mean, you know, because I mean, there are a lot of coin collectors out there.
If I get anything out of this, you just help me make content. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So another one of your videos that impressed me was the poor piano playing on a Wurlitzer, and that was from 2 years ago. You've had 11 views. You know, I looked at that this morning, and I thought it was. I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, that was definitely a video I didn't expect any views on. That was at a church, and of course, you know, I hate to say it, but yeah, around the 2012 till now, I probably had a few roller coasters of feeling down and yucky and whatever. But that was a moment where nobody was. I was cooking a dinner for the congregation, and they left it up to me, so I had the kitchen to myself, and nobody was there. I had everything prepped, and I saw that they had a piano out there, and I hadn't played piano in 3 or 4 years, and I was feeling fat and feeling down, and I jumped on there. But I'll be honest, as soon as I got off the piano, I was lifted up again, because music naturally does that to me. Piano is my forte, so I can do that. I'm working on my guitar playing again, so I'll have a playlist of music that I do, and I write music.
So Harry, have you got your guitar handy now then?
Uh, yes and no.
Because I was going to ask you if you would play a number.
We can. I got asked last night to play, and I told those people that I need to feel secure. I'm close. I'm about 2 or 3 weeks away from being able to. And if either you'll have me again, or I will make sure I invite you. Even if it's your live chat, it's coming. I promise you. I'm going to have a lot to give our community with music. I promise you. I'm very stoked that it's back in my life. I just want it to be the right time. That's all.
Okay, that's fair enough. Do you mind if I invite Pixie's channel in, because I'm Mel's asking some questions and I keep on missing him. So if I invite Pixie in, he can relay.
By all means.
Okay then, yeah. Pixie, I'm just going to invite you in, because it always helps, because when I am doing these interviews, I always forget about the chat window. So I've just invited him in, Harry.
Awesome.
So another video that I want to ask you about is, or a collection of videos, is your seeding videos that you did with in 2015, the tomato plants. There's about 5 or 6 videos on there that I looked at, because I do my research when I interview anybody.
Cool.
Why is he coming on my Hangouts there on the iPad? So I want him in on here. Pixie's channel, I've invited you through this. I've sent you the invite. Don't ring me on the iPad, whatever you do. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, about those seeding videos, what made you or think about putting those seeding videos on? Oh, Pixie's here now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button.
Yeah. So, Harry, do you know Chris?
Yeah. Well, we met on that one live, and I do follow Chris. Yes.
Yeah, I've seen your videos as well, and you do some awesome videos. So thank you for following my channel.
I appreciate that. Oh yeah, I'm a watcher. That's for sure. I wish I could watch more.
Yeah, same here.
So, has there been any questions in the?
Mel asked you earlier when you're going on about the coins collection. Why don't you do a video of your coins?
Well, and that's the funny thing. I have been looking through them. I have SJ Adventures. I watch her, and she's a really good live coin channel. So I'm starting to realize I have that. I have enough material. I have enough knowledge, and of course I could always gain more. But I certainly could have a playlist of some of my favorite coins. Absolutely. It's only proven to me right now that maybe I should give it a go.
Well, you could always do a coin of the week.
Sure. I love it. You're hired.
That's good. That is a good one. So,
that's the end of that. All right, interview's over. I'll be back. I'm filming coins.
So
that's
Harry,
cool, Mel. Thank you.
Yeah. So Harry,
the seating.
I've gone off that now. What about this Asian candy tasting videos that you put up? Because you must have a sweet tooth.
Well, my kids love to order the Asian candy that, of course, we never get to see. They look on their YouTube channels and watch other kids eating it. So I just thought, well, if we order a batch or two, why not have a tasting that we could watch later? It had nothing to do with being up on. Now, I might have put some of that on Facebook, because for a little bit, I was doing the Facebook while I was at the American Legion cooking. So that's actually how I was doing a lot of Facebook videos. If I did stuff at the Legion and I had a special that night, I would do a quick video and put it on Facebook. But mainly, and it also goes with the seeding, that I always wanted to trap my daughter and I, or my son and I, or the three of us when we're learning. And even opening candy from Japan or wherever that you've never had before is probably an experience you would want to relive when you're in your 20s or 30s and you haven't seen it in a while. So that's where that came from, really. Just trapping life.
Well, that's really good then, you know, because I see that, again, through a lot of your videos, that you don't seem to be a bad cook, because one of them that stood out for me was the chicken dumpling stew pie soup that you made. There's a video up. You've only had 35 views on it, and I thought how good it was.
Well, I appreciate that, and I guess I have to. I don't know if that's in my playlist or not, but
yeah, it is, Harry. Yeah,
good. I hope that as I gain more viewers, they're going to discover them. I don't know how to reissue them, or I could do shout outs, I guess, and ask people to re-see. I'm really glad you like that, because that's a really good comfort recipe that if it's a cold day out, that seems to really fill your belly and get you all warm and you take a nap.
yeah.
It'll knock you out, man, especially if you do it with turkey, because turkey will knock you out faster than chicken. But I appreciate that you saw that.
So Mrs. P, Jeanette, have a look at his soup, that video of Harry's, because it's a good recipe. Absolutely looks ever so yummy. So let's have a look, see what I have come up with, other ones that is there anybody who wants to ask Harry a question in the
I've got a couple here. Going back to the coins one, Jeanette says do coins from different countries.
Yes,
do videos on that one.
I would like that.
And also Mel said, what is it, well, what did he put, what is it that you didn't know that you want the world to know they don't know? Let me just reread that off of there, because it was off at chat. And it didn't make much sense to me when I wrote it down. Oh, dear. Where's it gone? Mel's.
Have you found it? Have you found it?
Hey, Harry, what is it about you that you want the world to know that they don't know? Basically, about yourself.
That's pretty simple. And sadly, I may have said it, but I live by it. And life is not a dress rehearsal. So, you know, you're here and the curtain goes up, but the curtain never shuts. And when it shuts, it's over. So you are constantly on the stage of life. And it's not a dress rehearsal. I know you can practice. I understand that. But, you know, if opportunity is right there, be alert and aware of it. When the good times are there, appreciate it, and try to stretch those times out too. And then when the bad times are there, just know that if you get a good night's sleep, you can maybe rethink the problem. And you know, you can't, and that's easy to say because there's so many different variables in life of people's degree of ups and downs. But if I had to ask anybody to take something away from me, is life is not a dress rehearsal, and you got to keep going. The show is on.
Yeah.
Mel's sorry, Keith. Mel's just asked, and I do have such good hair.
Such good what? Hair?
Hair, yeah.
Huh? I don't know. I guess I just found out that I'm Mediterranean and Egyptian. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I thought you had a bit of Mediterranean blood in you there, Harry.
Greek, Italian, and Egyptian.
Yeah, because I watched the video where you in the car going on about got to get better sleep, and you are clean shaven, no beard, you've got a cap on, you haven't got so much hair, and I was just going to ask you, what made you grow a beard?
My weight. I've done it before, and it was cool. I didn't grow it this long, but so you can tell I'm at a stumbling block with my weight. But I was 310, and I said maybe if I get to 235, I'll shave. And I figured, man, if my beard gets long, I'm going to really work hard to get that weight off. But I'm down to 265 from 310, and that's. Do I want to shave it? I know certain people want me to shave it. Don't know who that is.
Whatever you do, don't shave it, please. I like you with a beard. After looking at you.
I'm getting used to it. I know it's sort of trademarkish a little bit. When I do cut it, I go straight down to shiny bald and no hair on the face. It's like I do that sometimes because if you just have your face, you have nothing to hide behind, and it's very, very daring but refreshing. So who knows when that'll happen.
I see Mel's just asked another question.
Yeah, I'll just write it down. It says, can you tell us a bit more about New Jersey?
Well, you know, the funny thing is you don't realize how New Jersey is its own personality, because we're surrounded by, number one, once you get to Delaware and south of Delaware, which is right across the Delaware Bay, you're starting to get into the southern drawl, the colloquialisms of southern living. But if you go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, you have the Pennsylvania Dutch. That's a little bit more further west, but you do have Philly. How you doing? You know, so Philly's like its own animal, the city of brotherly love. You got New York, where, you know, how you doing? You know, that same thing. But New Jersey is a little bit sort of its own beast. We have our own idiosyncrasies, but it's a strong state. It's totally full of gardening. So we're not called the Garden State for nothing. It's flat. There is absolutely no true hills other than some of our ski hills that we do have were probably man-made, to be honest. They might have been fill, and they just turned it into a ski slope. But it's very self-efficient. We do have the full coast of our East Coast is all beach. So we're definitely a beach state, a surfing state. We have lots of boardwalks. We're well known for our tomatoes, for our corn, and cranberries. Like, might be one of the cranberry capitals of the world. We're actually getting pretty well known for wine too now, and blueberry wine, cranberry wine, and regular grape wine. So we're making a stab for that. It's a tough state to live in, though. Laws, insurance, you know, politics. It's tough that way. I don't recommend it, but growing up here, I wouldn't change it. You know, I was very, very lucky to grow up on the beach and boardwalk. Very lucky.
Mel says, has anybody told you look like Moses?
I'll go with that. Why not? I haven't figured out how to split the water yet, but I could certainly drink a glass of it.
Yeah. And it says,
but I get it all.
Well, it says, what's the favorite thing about where you live?
Oh, summertime. Yeah, summers in Jersey. You can't beat it. It's you know, we're still blue. That's the other thing. Maybe I you know, compared to the West Coast is like Mars. The West Coast is like, you know, totally like Venus or something. It's they don't even think nowhere near that the East Coast does. They're all cool, and I've been out to the West Coast, so I'm very lucky that way, and it's really cool out there. But they do not think like we think, or vice versa. So I just love our seashore all the way up and down the coast. I can't. There's nothing I can do but tell you that. I'm so lucky. You've seen them in my vlogs. When you walk on the beach, we have the biggest, beautiful beach year round, and growing up in the summertime, you were waiting to get out of school just to be at the beach and boardwalk.
And Mel also says, "What's your favorite meal?"
Oh, he's going for it.
He is.
He's
I'll
taking
tell you
off
what,
the
I like
cap.
that. Anything, right? Anything. Vinny G says Grizzly Adams. All right, we're moving down a little, but Moses was pretty now. Zorbit of the Greek. I get it all. Jerry Garcia. You know, my favorite meal. I got to be honest. I am a diehard. I love barbecue. Just right out on the grill. I don't have a smoker or anything like that, and I love that. But I just love meat and bones and barbecue, gnawing it like I'm a carnivore.
Jeanette says, "Do you have any pets? And if so, which ones?"
Yeah, we have 2 cats. I have a gray named Marley. He's about 12 or 13. He's the oldest. We have a pure black cat, medium hair. Marley short hair blue, or actually gray, but he looks blue in the sun. Loomis, he's a medium-haired black cat, gorgeous. He's a buddy of Marley's. We picked him up together. We rescued him, and so they're good. He's probably about 11. And then I have Buster, who's a Jack Russell. He's probably around 10. He's full white with just one patch. They're hard to find, but he's all white, one little brown patch. And then I have a pit bull named Rusty, who we took in because one of my good friends had back surgery, and it was major back surgery. So he couldn't take care of the dog until he's out of PT. But yeah, they're the 4 pets we have: 2 children and me and my wife. So it's a packed up little apartment. And everybody's eating at some time.
Yeah. It says another one from Mel. What is your favorite song to dance to?
Oh, I love 70s funk. 70s funk is awesome. And definitely there was some good early 90s club music, or maybe early 2000s, like 50 Cent, those guys back in the club. It's Getting Hot in Here, that era. I don't dance as much as I used to, but if I had to go with it, it's definitely 70s funk, a little bit of disco in there too. The good disco. There's bad disco, but there is some killer disco. Oh, I as far as bands anyway, I still love the 70s horn bands too, like Earth, Wind and Fire, Chicago, all that stuff. So
Class bands.
Throw that in.
2
Wheel Fix. Awesome.
Another one from Mel. He says, "Hey Harry, what were you like as a child? I'm not saying that you're old though. Love you, brother."
He's grilling me. He is grilling me good. What was I like as a child? I was a Porsche. I was not a Cadillac or a van. I needed to get out of the garage and be on the highway. So I probably had ADD, but I think that's just because I was intelligent, and sometimes intelligent people need to do their thing and have their teachers understand their thing and then teach that, not force them the opposite direction. So, and in the 70s, it was like, oh, you're high on sugar, cut the sugar. And we didn't even have Ritalin then, but I was always on the go. If there was a choir to sing in, I sang in it. If there was an instrument to play, I played it. If there was a sport to learn and do it, I did it. I wanted to be everywhere, everywhere and anywhere.
And Mel again says, "So Harry, please tell us, why should people watch your channel? What makes it worth watching?"
Good question, that Mel.
It is. It should be Mel's 1-to-1.
You know why? I think because they're going to see that the watchers that communicate with me can still get something where I listen to what they want to see and what they want to do. And I know as you get bigger, that's going to be harder to do. But I do believe right now it's the watchers that are helping me understand who I am. Even though I have fun, I wake up every day and I have an idea of what to do. But sitting here, listening to you guys and reading the chat, I'm thrilled that people are coming up with a little bit of direction, and that always helps. I'd rather do stuff that people want to see, but I also like if I throw a curveball that people dig it. So I had a lot of feedback on my diabetes, and I did my first screen share and talked about some things about diabetes. And in my age bracket, of course, type 2, there are people that have to start learning how to prick their finger and read their blood, how to know how to take care of yourself the hour before, hour after, the different medications, metformin, all the way up to Victoza. I even did a little video of me stabbing my belly to take my shot. So, the sky's the limit. YouTube, you can do, I don't even have to, I could just wake up and not tell anybody what I'm doing and have fun doing it. But I'm noticing that the messages I'm getting, like I got a message, gosh, I wish I could, especially if they're watching, it's going to kill me, but somebody wanted me to make brajol, which is one of my favorite Italian dishes to make. And to give you an idea, I cooked at a 5-star restaurant for about 2.5, 3 years. So I got a lot of my skills about 25, 30 years ago. And that was while I was going through college. So I always cooked. I actually did a stint at McDonald's and cooked there when I was like 15. But I always found ways to cook, whether it was on a grill or whatever. But when I got to the 5-star, that's when I had to learn soups and sauces and what works well together, even wines and fish, or stuff like that, the combinations. But with the cooking I do now, it's definitely out of the top of my head. I make stuff up as I go, and I haven't even gotten into too much of the bigger recipes yet. I just have fun doing maybe more of the stuff that people can copy easier and quicker. I get that. I feel like the cheesesteak one, I really got a lot of happiness out of that, because people associate a cheesesteak with Philadelphia, and then they see that you can just make one at home with the right ingredients and you can have yourself a good cheesesteak. So cooking is fun for me.
So Melbell says, were you ever a ladies' man?
Sure. Why not? I had my fun.
Yeah, you
I certainly had my fun. I lived in Louisiana, and I played music there for about 3 years. And it was a good time for, what was I, 19 to 21. I turned 21 before I came home. So they were really good years. We had fun playing Holiday Inns, places that were more cocktail. Definitely a couple clubs too, but with the Holiday Inns, we were paid and we stayed for free. So we ate with no charge, we stayed for no charge, and we got paid. And I made about $500 a week then. That was pretty good money in the early 90s for what I was doing. So I had, what's up, Richard? And I'm sorry, I'm seeing Black Death's in there. Black Death, awesome. We're brand new friends, so I appreciate you hanging out. But I'm so engulfed in watching Keith here that I'm not watching. I apologize to the chatters, but I love yous all. Mel, I'm waiting. I'm gonna find you, buddy. Wait till I find you on your interview. I got questions already cranking. I will be there. Trust me.
The more I write it down, the more he's asking. I'm running out of paper here.
I love him to death. He's one of my first true friends on YouTube. That's for sure.
Jeanette's asked,
like, where you really.
If you could meet,
who
would you like to meet on YouTube? Says Jeanette.
If I had to be honest, I would do it. I am so enthralled with my family here that I would like to do 3 random picks wherever they are in the world, and have the money to go and visit them, because it would be too hard for me to pick somebody straight out. I'll tell you what, I hear this all the time, especially in chats with one person, not a group up on the panel. But one person will just say that they finally met somebody not on YouTube, not in a video chat. I mean, like they met them live. And I'm seeing that down south, up here, we've had a few. And everybody says that YouTube, their community, is more than family at times. I know one guy was saying that he doesn't even speak to his family as much as he loves them, but he doesn't speak to his family as much as he speaks to the people that, you know, coming in and out of his channel. So, and that's something to say, because I don't mind that. I think that's actually the world is hugging and loving, not fighting and you know, getting mad at each other. So I think that when two YouTubers can meet in person, it has to be magical. It has to be something that's a little bit, I don't think it's any like awe. It's more like you finally shook a hand and it's real. So it goes up a notch. That personality and that friendship between the two people go up. So it'd be so hard. There's so many people I would definitely love to meet, but I couldn't answer it. It's too tough to answer. Any of them.
Javon Zombie says, would you like to go to, what was it put again? The chat's going so fast I can't keep up with it. Let me just zoom up a bit.
It's Harry. Would you like to go back 20 minutes or forward 20
minutes?
Well, you know what? I don't want to rush things. Why lose? Because put it this way, if you go forward 20, you're losing something. But if you go back, you can apply knowledge. So, and if it was only 20 minutes, sure, I'd go back 20 minutes in a heartbeat. But I wouldn't want to take off almost a half hour of my life and jump it. That's a good question. And hello, Cargo 619 blew my face off the other day, and I owe her one too. And I don't know, I feel like I shouldn't say it, but she was asked on a question and answer that I happened to come in at the last end, and she said something about me that blew my mind, and she got all excited that and I was like, I was actually stunned because I didn't know what I just did. I wasn't sitting there watching, I didn't know nothing, and I went and rewound her tape and watched it. So I can't tell her enough that if I make her happy, that she looks up to me, then I was so humbled, Keith, Chris. I'm humbled every day, but she really just blew the doors off me, and it was very honest and very real, and it just hit my heart like a ton of bricks in a good way. So kudos to Cargo 619. She's a doll baby.
Yeah, she does. I love following Cargo. Brilliant girl, a brilliant channel. So, Harry, back to this, going back in time. If you had the chance of any period in time, what time period and who would you like to meet?
All right. Probably it's a close tie between the Vietnam and World War II era, but I would have to go with World War II. And I guess any of the heroes from like it would be cool to meet MacArthur or something. But I'm very attracted to the era of the 40s, the movies, the wartime. So yeah, I would do that, and maybe Eisenhower right after the war. He met the aliens. So I'd like to talk to him and just say, what did you see? But if I could go back, I would certainly like to. I love the cars from the 40s. They were neat. Times were neat then. Things were changing. And I believe that World War II was probably the last war we were ever in where it was the brothers grabbed each other's arms and said, we're going to do this together. And if it was over in England, yes, I believe that the brothers all put their arms together and said, we're going to do this together. We have something to fight for. Then after that, I think war got a little bit twisted, and enough about that. But It wasn't like World War II. That was something that, you know, and I know there's some conspiracies, the bad word there, about how we got in and how we whatever. But I believe that was the last time our countries really band together as brothers.
Melanie Jane asks, how would you describe your experience on YouTube so far?
Melanie's part of it. I mean, she is. She's down under. And Melanie, I'm gonna have to tell another story, but she knows that at the end of my pretty much 99% of my videos, I'm always like, kiss, hug, love, a vet. So she did meet somebody at the war memorial where she's from, down in Australia, I believe. And to know that she hugged a vet and said, there's a guy on YouTube that told me to do it or gave me the idea to do it, it really blew. That's one of my favorite things, that somebody was touched and or touched somebody from the chain of events. And if a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, do we have a huge storm over here? The butterfly effect, right? So, Melanie, that's a great question, and you're part of that. That changed not changed my outlook. It just made me start thinking that, and same with you, Keith and Chris, your faces are up here, and you know, you could say a sentence, a word that can just put people on another planet because it made them happy. And that's a huge power to have, because you can do it reverse too, and you can make somebody come down, and that stinks. But the power of YouTube is a beautiful creation. I'm learning it. I mean, I don't know it like I should yet, but I'm getting to know it, getting to understand it.
So Harry, because I've lost the my questions now. What can I ask you about now? I'm just looking through my questions. Oh yeah, what gender of movies do you like watching?
For a long time, it was certainly horror. I love it. I love the gory effects. The better the effects, like I don't like the cheap effects, and I also like. I'm definitely into the war movies too. That's probably a big tie there. All the way back, you know, back to John Wayne doing war movies and stuff. So maybe even war movies more than the horror, but I like a good, you know, I grew up with the times of, well, I was a teenager when like the Friday the 13th came out, and Halloween and stuff like that. And that was different. Like the scary movies changed when they came out, with Jason, and what was the other one that I'm thinking of? Like Hellraiser, when that came out, they were game changers.
So could you tell us a bit about your family's history, of your forces history?
Of my family?
Yeah, because you mentioned when I spoke to you that you come from a long history of your family being in the forces. So can you explain a little bit about that, what forces they were in?
Yeah. Well, first, my father was adopted, and he passed at 49, but he was in the Navy. He was a river rat guy in Vietnam, and that's about all I know about him, because he died in 89. So even before I could be old enough to sort of chat with him, even before I had a love for vets like I do now, I didn't understand it. But I would have loved to have picked his brain to find out what was going on and what he experienced. Now, that being said, I don't have a huge history with my father's side. That's why I did the DNA test, because I never knew what 50% of my body was, what it was built upon. But on my mother's side, I had a lot of apparently Italian and Irish, and that was West Philly and South Philly. And they were anything from tailors, bread makers, in Philadelphia back in the 20s through the 50s, you had 3 or 4 corner stores on each block that was something you needed in your home. It wasn't like you went out and it was a mall. There was all these little shops. So we had a hardworking Italian-Irish family on my mom's side that you did everything on your own and made your own way. My stepfather, who I spent most of my life with, he was a naval pilot, and that's where I got a little bit more of history out of him. But he came out of World War II and went into Korea. And he came out as a fighter pilot with the Corsairs, the bent wings, and he went into Korea as flying the big air balloons, the big Zeppelins. So, and that was really cool, to be honest, because there weren't many pilots from that era, because you had so many planes, but guys that commanded the big airships, the big balloons, and they were big. They were just like big Goodyear blimps. That's fascinating. And he said he loved it because he's like, I went from, flying real fast, bombing and diving to, going over California to make sure the shores were safe during Korea. So, that was kind of cool that he did that. When I was little, I used to be like, ha, 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 he flew balloons. Now that I'm older, I'm like, dag, I wish I would have talked to him more about that experience, because I would love to be in one and see how it works. So youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah. So have you ever thought about going out with your camera or your phone and interviewing some of the vets? Because that's something that I used to do, go around interviewing older people about their life stories, because as you've said, and as we all know, talking to the older generation before they pass away, they've got a lot of memories to put onto video, even onto YouTube, that could help future generations.
Well, I totally agree. I would love, first and foremost, to do interviews. I think that's, if I had to say of all the things I like to do, that's one thing I don't do that I certainly want to accomplish. And you're quite right. I have all the facilities with the American Legion that I can set up a place where we can have a really nice interview. It's all in the decor. It's, the backdrops I need. I have somewhat thought of that, but I've noticed when I filmed in the kitchen, they would duck and run and hide. They didn't want to be on. But I haven't approached them. So it's a wonderful idea. And as I'm growing, I don't see why that can't be a part. I have on my Facebook an Agent Orange page that I try to keep, the facts up, and I update that once or twice a month. And I named it after our post. It's Orange 184. But I think you hit, again, just another. I love people, and I love the older generation. I want to hear their stories. I also feel like now they might be a little bit more, especially the way I look, they might be a little bit more receptive. I might be a little bit more on their playing field. If I tried it 5 years ago, I still might have been a little too spunky. But I think now I'm learning from everybody, including yourself, that, I'm watching and I'm learning, and I want to apply that. So yes, that's would be a really. I thank you. That's something good. I've entertained the thoughts of doing it, but
yeah,
vets are great.
I think if I was over there, I'd love to do it over here with the English veterans. But it's knowing people, because there's not many that I know in my area, Grimsby, Cleethorpes. But even with your own families, that, like, if your grandmother's or your mother or whoever it is who's in the home, if she's still complimentous, to go and interview her and get her life experience onto YouTube is fascinating, you know, because we've got such a great tool here in YouTube, and people really don't use it for the benefit of humanity, you know, because to have something that 200 years further down the line, people can look back on and think, hell, they lived in the 20th century or the 21st century, and all the actual facts together. You know, you can put it in a book, but actually seeing somebody talking about their life, as we're talking now, is fascinating. And I don't know why people don't do it. I mean, it's like Mel, where he works in that big cathedral. I would be interviewing people who come in there and get some stories from them about why they're visiting there or whatever, you know, especially the older generation.
Well, Keith, if you don't mind me saying, as much as people back in the 30s and 40s had their town gatherings once a week, and they all got together and knew each other and would talk and communicate, all of a sudden big things changed, from telephones going to cell phones, from you scratched on a piece of paper or a typewriter, and then there was word processors, and then now you can actually talk into your phone and you have speech recognition. The thing is, everything comes full circle. So in my impression of YouTube is the town hall now, and you can come back to square one and literally put 11 people up on a screen and have the chat going. And to me, that's no different, other than the physicality of touching or hugging each other. That's no different than, you know, in the 20s or 30s, when you would have a gathering way more than once a month. It would be weekly almost, that the neighborhood got together. I can remember growing up, and our neighborhood would have, if somebody had a barbecue in the neighborhood, it was for the neighborhood. And everybody went there, and then they would talk, and then they would find out, well, who's doing it next week? So on that line, if you think about it, we're coming full circle. We're actually, and people aren't, like, they're still on their phones, and they're still playing their games, and they're still in the rat race of life. And eventually people are going to realize that this is a place to meet new people and to discover people that might be gone by now. You know, I'm sure there's people that are on video that were here in 2005, and they've moved on to another life, and here they are trapped. And you can pop into one of their videos somehow and hear it. So I agree. This is not used yet. It still has a ways to go.
Yeah, it definitely does. You know,
like, not to interrupt you, but you already got my brains cranking to where, if you were to be on your camera right now and, let's say, have a certain war era guy with you, and then I'm going to sit over here and I'm going to have a war guy over here with me, wouldn't it be even that much better to hear how they talk to each other?
Definitely. Yeah.
And then now that is caught on live and forever. And the interviews are good, but the minute you said that, I said, well, wouldn't it be better if the guy was sitting right next to you, and I had a guy here, and they could talk about what they did back then? And that might even bring out more stories. You know.
Yes, I fully agree with that. I'll tell you what, Harry. I will try and get one of our vets. If you
and I will too.
Your vets on your channel, and we could do a live discussion with them. You know, because I think that would be very, very interesting. You know, because I think the oldest vet that I know in my area is about 91, and he's still got all his faculties there. You know, he was a pilot in the RAF, and he did bombing runs over Germany. So, yeah. I will have a word with him and see what I can do.
And you heard it here, folks. So we have it on. It's locked in. Don't steal our idea.
well, the more people,
no, in fact, steal it and have fun. I don't even care.
Yeah, I don't. You know, I mean, this is it. It's the community and the support that we give each other. to me, that I think that I follow a lot of drone channels, and I've interviewed a couple of droners, but I try to interview all different channels because they've all got something to help us as creators and to help our channels to grow. So, you know, I enjoy talking to people. Like, I love listening to Mel when he goes on. And thank you very much, Mel, for that. I just wish it was in English, and then I know how much I've got. That's only a joke. So yeah, it's just a case of you know, all the people in our community on here, not all our subscribers, but those that support each other's channels. They're the people that we want to join in, because it's a family. We are all getting to know each other. You know, I mean, like ADMR 1985, Andy, I've got to interview him, although he's been interviewed on Patrick Conlon's channel. You know, I've got to talk to him, because he's another wonderful channel, drone channel, absolutely fantastic.
I am so dying. I'm set because Christmas is coming with the kids, but I am so ready to have some form of drone in my toolbox. I'm not going to be a drone channel, but it's certainly going to be a tool that I can use. I think we may have talked about that. And that's why the more I watch you guys with the drones, the more I'm just talk about being a kid again and wanting my toy. Huh! Drone is where I want to, you know what? I can't do a drone I'm not going to be able to fly. I got to get a drone that I say, here's where I want you to do, and it goes and does it, because I would never master how they used to do it. But some of the footage, I'm so in love with drone channels now, because it just gives you the views that you never get to get. Only movies used to be able to get those with helicopters, and now drones are just amazing.
Just don't crash it into a tree like I did.
What's that?
Just don't crash it into a tree like I did.
Right. I'd be afraid of that.
That's not a good idea, especially in high winds.
Right.
But it happens, Chris. It really does. You know, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to that Black Death tomorrow, talking to you.
We've got a couple of questions from a while back.
What was that, Chris?
We've got a couple of questions from a while back.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
Hit it.
Jeanette says, who's your favourite movie star, either male or female?
Well, that's a good question. I'm going to say, as far as for male, I'm probably in the Clint Eastwood era. I know that's like, there was a style to him that you couldn't copy, but I probably have way more than just that. But like, he was just, you could only beat Clint Eastwood if you're Clint Eastwood, and nobody else could capture that. Same with John Wayne. He's one of my favorites. As far as the ladies go, oh, that's a good one. I'm drawing blanks on names, but there's a few. I did like Sharon Stone, because that's my era. Uma Thurman is probably my favorite.
Oh, I've seen
Uma Thurman.
I've seen her, because when I was in Los Angeles, Kill Bill was premiering at the Man's Chinese Theatre, and she was on the red carpet, and I was across the street. And
wait a minute.
I think I did get her on video that night.
Another one I have to say is my favorite is Liam Neeson. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
I like.
Fantastic actor. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like him. I love his voice. I love it. You know, I like him. But I have so many. That's what's hard. I went to acting school, so I have an acting school in New York and L.A. called Weiss Baron Ryan, and I graduated. It was film school where you had to learn how to be in front and behind the camera. So I do have experience with that. I think it was still a money taker, but because being an actor is just not something I recommend. And unless half of it's luck, being in the right place at the right time, and talent too. But it was cool. I did a couple TV shows. My biggest one was probably a show back in the '80s called Unsolved Mysteries. I had a part, a lead in one of those, but it still taught me a lot about. I had to take speech class. I had to take memorization to memorize your lines, how to take direction. Besides just getting in front of a camera, they really did give you a lot more angles to learn, like the whole thing, other than just being in front of the camera. So I do take when I watch actors, I hate to say it, but I almost watch them as a critique. It's hard for me to not watch them and see if they're acting good. I hate a bad actor or actress. Terrible. And I feel bad for them at the same time.
Mel said, what one word describes your story? That's what he puts. I'm assuming your life story.
Adventure. Yep, adventure. It's always been that. I've been blessed. Life doesn't owe me anything. I have been very fortunate to have some really cool experiences, and it's always been an adventure. Was there rough times? Absolutely, but I've had a lot of really cool times. Birth of my children. My marriage is amazing. I'm married 20 years and 2 beautiful, smart, intelligent, loving children. So my life's been an adventure, and my wife's my best friend. So I don't need another really, really good friend. I know I have one. If all else fails, I still have my wife and my children. So adventure, though. Yes. Take care, Mel. Thanks for asking all your questions. Appreciate you. Off to your next live. I hope you ask all them questions at your next live, Mel. Take a drink of water.
Yeah. Mel's just mentioned that Granny Monster is just gone live with her mother. So I don't know what that's all about. So I think I will call it, bring this interview to an end, if you don't mind, Harry.
I'm fine. Whatever you want to do.
So we can all go over to Granny's and join hers. Appreciate you coming on.
Oh, it was a blast.
And I hope you've enjoyed the experience of being interviewed and having Pixie on. And, I've enjoyed everything about our interview tonight. Awesome. Hope you've got a few more subs, and hope that you get to that 500 really quick so that I can win that giveaway. Don't want to say, but I'll drop you $10 in the post if you like. I'm only kidding.
Bribing some more people, then, are you then, Keith?
I don't do that. I'm only joking. Only joke.
No, I was more nervous that I just wanted to make sure you had somebody to interview that was going to be able to handle it. So I hope I was okay for you. That's all. Apparently I was.
You have been, Harry. It's been a wonderful night, and I've really enjoyed talking to you. I'm going to keep in touch with you on Hangouts anytime. Don't lose touch, whatever you do.
No way.
And I'll always watch all your videos, always come in on your live streams and everything like that. I missed the turkey one this morning because I wasn't up, but I will try and get on everyone that I possibly can for you. So I'm going to finish it now. So thanks everybody in the chat room, and for all
the chatter. Love the chatter.
Yeah, loved you all coming on.
See you later, Harry.
Awesome, brother.
Time, mate.
Thumbs up, brother. All right then.